rock! Okay, maybe rock is the wrong word, but are you ready to play a rhythm game? Because today we are checking out the new rhythm fighter, God of Rock, from Modus Games. Yes, you heard that correctly. This is a rhythm fighting game where you will be mashing the correct inputs at lightning speeds to pull off kick-ass moves against your opponents and blocking their incoming attacks, all in the hopes of appeasing the God of Rock. As a fan of both rhythm games and fighting games, this concept appealed to me greatly. What could be better than combining two of my favorite genres? Well, let's not get ahead of ourselves. You're probably wondering how in the world this all works. So let's start with the basics. I would highly recommend starting your gameplay with the built-in tutorial. There are a few lessons to go through, but they will all be very helpful in digesting everything this game throws your way. It's not a lot of information per se, but it's definitely going to require a little practice and a lot of patience to master. Once you've completed the tutorial, I'd also suggest entering the training mode. Here you can practice what you've learned and get a handle on the different play styles of each character. You can also check out their move lists. From there, you may choose your destiny, either the arcade mode where you can get the backstory on each character while fighting your way through traditional gauntlet-style lineups, or multiplayer, either local or online. Either way you play, you'll choose from one of 12 characters, each with their own set of special abilities and play styles that you'll need to practice in order to dominate the stage, ring, battlefield, I don't know, to win. This might be a rhythm game, but using your special attack is not as simple as tipping up the neck of your plastic guitar to unleash star power. Oh no, this is where the fighting game aspect comes in. In order to perform a special, you're going to need to memorize and execute inputs which are different for each of the 12 characters. Performing your ultra attack in combat is no easy feat either. Not only will you have to completely fill your ultra meter, but you'll also need to pull off the button input all while keeping up with the rhythm game track. With so much to keep track of, your brain is going to be stretched in a lot of different directions, so I hope you've been doing your brain yoga. But wait, there's more. There are also different levels of special attacks that each character can pull off, and you can counteract an incoming special from an opponent by reading the color of the meter in the center of the screen. For example, level 1 is green, and then hitting your opponent with a higher level special to perform a reversal. Yeah, I was not good at this. I'm never great at parrying, but this felt like a particularly daunting challenge. There is a huge range of difficulty options from easy to God of Rock, which is helpful in making the game more accessible to a wider range of skill levels, but even the easy mode can be pretty intimidating to a beginner. Regardless of which difficulty option you choose, songs become more difficult the longer a battle rages on, so it's best to hit your opponent with everything you've got right out of the gate if you'd like to save your head from spinning later on. I love the idea of God of Rock, but I'm much less crazy about the execution. It is so difficult to look up from the track to catch all of the action happening above. I couldn't even tell if I was winning half of the time because I was scared to avert my eyes for even a moment and fall behind, prolonging the battle and making it even more challenging for myself. Life is hard enough, you know? I don't believe you are supposed to be hitting every single note, but the rhythm game player in me is definitely trained to try. I had to keep reminding myself to try and pull off a special move every once in a while, otherwise I was just lobbing softballs at my opponent and not really getting anywhere. This is the kind of game that requires dedication to feel truly confident in your abilities. Graphics in God of Rock are super stylish and fun, which made me all the more sad that I couldn't watch the fights as they happen. Honestly, the game is way more fun to watch than it is to play, which I feel like is the opposite of what a video game should be. The character designs are really creative and unique, each one vaguely reminding me of a real-life superstar. I even came up with nicknames for them, like Rave Lizzo and Vacation Elvis and buff wrestler Freddie Mercury. There are also 8 different arenas and vastly different environments to choose from. All of them kind of sound cooler than they are and don't really have any meaningful impact on the gameplay other than the songs you can choose varying in each location. game. Part of what I love about fighting games in general is how the characters can sometimes interact with the environments and use them to further punish their opponents, and that's something that's just not possible here, sadly. There's already too much going on to keep track of. And music. What's a rhythm game without music? You won't recognize any of these tracks, but there certainly are a lot of them to choose from, with the promise of more to be added later. Obviously, I understand them not being recognizable. I'm positive it's much less affordable to use highly recognizable licensed tracks in your rhythm game. The problem I have with this soundtrack is that I just didn't connect with a lot of these songs. They are instrumental, with some leaning more on the electronic side and others on the metal end of the spectrum. Some songs were catchy, but overall the selection didn't pack enough punch for me. There were very few tracks that made me want to go back in and play them again. Maybe it's just me, but I've played other rhythm games chock full of tracks I have never heard in my entire life, and I am almost always able to find at least a few songs that grab my attention and burrow their way into my brain like the earworms that they are. I guess I just wasn't vibing with these songs as much as I wanted to. They're not bad songs, and some of them even feature some impressive guitar work and some seriously badass bass, but the connection wasn't there for me. And that's kind of my takeaway with God of Rock in general. Everything about this game sounds like it's something I'd love, but I just don't. I wanted it to rock my socks off, but it ended up more like an underwhelming opening act. I kept waiting for the headliner, and they never took the stage. I'm confident that someone is going to be able to play this and get very, very good at it, but it feels a lot less appealing for a more casual player like myself. It has some really great ideas and some equally gorgeous graphics, but the gameplay isn't as enjoyable as it sounds.
Oh, gotta swallow my pride or try again.